I guess to go backwards a little bit, you know, there was an opportunity presented to us by Super Street and Modified. They're doing a new video series called Modified. We got an email that, you know, they'd like to cover our car, and we had to hum and haw on it because what part of this covering was they were going to drive the car. We've never had anybody else drive the car on a track anyways. It is a great opportunity for us to expose our sponsors, expose Time Attack to the public. They have a 5 million following based on Motor Trends channel. It's just an opportunity that was, you know, we couldn't turn down. So when we came here, quite honestly, we haven't touched the car since Road Atlanta. So the day before was the first time we, worked on the car since Global Time Attack Road Atlanta, and all we did was an oil change and make sure every nut and bolt was tight. We didn't do any real development between the two events. So this is still our Global Time Attack Road Atlanta setup that we're running. So a little higher spring rates than, a track like Gingerman would want. But we didn't want to make a compromise. We know the car felt extremely good at Road Atlanta, and we want to make sure that we carry that chassis dynamic because it's very similar to what Sydney Motorsports Park for World Time Attack is. So we didn't want to mess with the setup. We wanted to just be comfortable with where we're at. And ultimately, I think it was the right decision. Although we might have gained a little bit more speed at Gingerman Raceway, I can tell you I learned a lot more about this car driving it with this setup on this track this weekend. It's a much slower track with many linking corners, a few bumps here and there. And just learning to drive within those realms has been actually really good for me and good for my driver's development. So Friday, I don't even remember Friday. That was so long ago. Friday was exceptional. Friday we got the car unpacked. We made all 3 practice sessions. Started off with first session, I think we did a 30.5, which was a new personal best for me. So Saturday, first session out, we had earned the pole, so we got to lead the field out. We actually broke the track record on my first lap with a 28.5, and then we re-broke the record again with a 28.4 the second lap. However, that was then broken by another competitor with a 27.8. So we were definitely, a little surprised in terms of, we were a little surprised how fast we were going. Still a little shy of where we wanted to be, but we knew that the car has the potential to get, to the target time. So we went back out for the 3rd session. Car was feeling great, and I started to lay into the throttle. Unfortunately, something in what seems like the transmission has decided to let go. We spent all night getting the transmission replaced with our backup unit. It was quite a struggle because they're 2 different systems. One's a sequential, one's an H pattern. And we learned quite a few lessons about how much stuff we actually have to change and how long it takes to change those elements. Surprisingly, we're still out, before, crazy late. But it was definitely made for a late night though.
Around like idle.
12:48.
It's a late night, and I don't want to make it later.
Lights? Lights?
We'll go for a drive and see what it does. So we got into Sunday, and first things first, we have our arranged modified video shoot. So we came in early and we made sure that the car was all ready for them. Matt Powers ended up driving the car on track there, and he had a great time in it. I think he actually loved driving the car, and I hope he did. I hope he really enjoyed the experience. He's not a front-wheel drive guy, he's not a time attack guy, he's a drifter, so I think it was quite a unique change from what his normal elements would be. Another super amazing moment this weekend was going out for a photo shoot with Larry Chen. To have coverage on Speed Hunters is pretty crazy and honestly quite an honor. this is, you know what? This is the whole purpose of coming here.
Yeah,
It was like
for marketing.
Media. Yeah, you know,
getting exposure.
it's great for the sponsors. Like for me, it's cool, but
It's cool, yeah, but it's better for the sponsors
I think
because
so. I think so.
Oh,
I really think
absolutely.
so. So we make it onto the grid, and fortunately, first lap out, we had a situation where the car wasn't working right. So I reset it midway through the lap, and the car was working okay. So I started getting onto the throttle, and we ended up having another breakage.
This is our driver's side axle here.
Making too much power.
Yeah. There's not much to say about that. It's broken.
Yeah.
It lasted us one lap, and we're gonna throw in a new axle.
Bringing it into the pits, we ended up finding out that it was actually an axle that had decided to let go. And so we ended up having a spare, so we changed that out too. Onto second session on Sunday, get onto the grid, and we had a lot of smoke that was coming out of the hood. You know, Alex and the crew checked it out. They didn't see anything that was visible, but the smoke just kept pouring in. So we decided to bring it back into the pits. And it looks like there was an oil line that was having a little bit of contact with exhaust that was causing quite a smoke machine. So we fortunately had some Vibrant spares, so we replaced that line with a Vibrant AN line, and that's great. We actually insulated with some Vibrant insulation and got it out of the way, and you know, confident we fixed that problem now and got a better product in there as well. Went out for this last session, the final grid as it's known as, which is basically one hot lap. It's very hot out here right now, and I don't think the track conditions were ideal, but I was a pretty committed guy when I went out there, and I gave her all that I got, and unfortunately I gave her a little too much, and we kind of ran off course a little bit there. No damage to the car other than it has some lawn mowing effects going on, but the car's good. We drove it into the pits. This was the first time you know, Sunday that we actually literally drove it into the pits without a problem, and I'm happy that we can, you know, pack it up and make it home. And once we get back home, it's going to be, you know, look over everything that we've had an issue with this weekend, make whatever fixes or corrections we need to make on those, and really have a game plan to, you know, deal with those problems so they don't become a nuisance as we get prepared for World Time Attack. So after GridLife, you know, we've had a new motor in the works for a little while, so that's going to be our one of our primary focuses is getting that motor together. It's a dry sump engine, and we have a few, obviously, lines, Vibrant AN lines are going to be going into this thing. A couple new additions. We've been working on a World Time Attack spec splitter assembly. It's going to be much wider, up to World Time Attack specifications. After that, I think our big goal is going to be get everything in the car, get out on track, and get some testing time into this car. I'm very, very comfortable with the chassis now. This weekend coming to GridLife, like I said, you know, it felt really good out there. Maybe some small adjustments in terms of shock settings and spring rates, but they'll be so little that it's not going to be a big jump at all. And I'm really actually excited just to get the new setup going and get the transmission fixed up and get it back in here and, you know, get out to track and do some more high-speed testing.